Well, welcome everybody to our first active teaching lab of the fall 2022 semester. My name is Lane Sunwall. I'm so glad that you are here. Today, I am excited to have Anne Raddant come and speak with us today. Anne is a senior teaching faculty in biological sciences here at UW-Milwaukee. She received her PhD in molecular physiology and biophysics at the University of Iowa. And then after graduating, she taught as an assistant professor of biology at St. Ambrose until she came to UW-Milwaukee in 2017. So today, Anne is going to share with us her use of Microsoft Sway in her science courses. So welcome, Anne.
Thanks everyone for coming to listen to my story. It was kind of like a, what happens if I do this? That worked out beautifully. So the course that I am using Microsoft Sway in is a course in anatomy and physiology. This is a lecture and lab-based course. So this is me. I teach the lecture section. And then these are all of the lab sections taught by brilliant graduate or postgraduate lab teaching assistants. The course deals with what humans are made of, like where the different organs are, and then how they work. And it's a large enrollment class that serves all of the pre-nursing, pre-med, pre-PT, pre-dental. Like if you want to be a healthcare provider someday or a variety of other things, you have to take this course. So we mostly deal with the anatomy bits in the lab portion of the course, meaning like where are the different organs located? We do things like study models, have students drawing, and we use dissections of different organs or an entire fetal pig specimen as a way for students to study the anatomy and hopefully build a 3D model of the human in their minds as they go on to their next courses. So when I came to UWM in 2017, the course had been using a semi-custom lab manual for pretty much week-to-week lab activities, including a dissection guide for these fetal pig dissections that we would do. This was not a great resource for a number of reasons. It was expensive. It cost students about $60, and this was on top of a separate subscription that they needed to use McGraw-Hill's Connect as like their homework solution ebook thing. So it was an extra cost for students. It was not very flexible. I could make updates to it, but only once a year. And so if there was an error or a typo or we wanted to change something, we had to wait a whole year in order to do that. And the content was okay, but it wasn't great. Like the pictures were good, the activities were okay, but it just wasn't awesome. So I used it for a couple of years because I didn't really know what else to replace it with. Then UWM picked up Canvas as our LMS, and I started attending active teaching lab sessions where it quickly became apparent that I could use Canvas to create my own lab content and really eliminate the need for this lab guide that students were purchasing. Special shout outs to Carol Klingbeil from nursing, who did this modules presentation way back when and showed like really elegantly how to use pages in Canvas. Also, Aragorn Quinn did a great like best practices in Canvas pages that I also attended. If you are curious about those previous presentations, I'm sure Lane could help you find YouTube links. So that's what I did. I started building these Canvas pages that looked something like this. You know, I could give students some information about like what were we looking at, some text, some images, and then I would build sub pages that they would click on these links and access them. So this worksheet would take them somewhere where they could download a worksheet. Sometimes things would have pictures of models that they needed to be studying. And so it worked well for most things to eliminate this guide that they were buying and move things onto Canvas. The tricky part was coming up with something to replace the dissection guide. And this is really what we were relying on that manual for primarily. So if you're not familiar with what this looks like, you need a combination of narrative instructions like, okay, find this thing and cut it. And you also need a lot of high quality images to help students figure out what they're looking at and what they need to be doing. So I felt pretty confident in using Canvas pages for most things, but there's only so many different text formatting things you can do on a Canvas page. And I wasn't very good at getting my images to sit like just how I wanted them on a Canvas page. So I decided, well, we're just gonna like take a step back. We're going to capture our own images using my iPhone in a ring light. So this is like January 2020 when we're about to execute this. Nope, not everybody had ring lights yet, but I bought one to take these fetal pig pictures. I worked with my Rockstar TAs to do the dissections. So we were in the lab during prep meetings doing these dissections, and it took a lot of time. I knew that I was going to use this, semester after semester, and so the time investment was worth it to me. My initial plan was to just use Microsoft Word, and then once I had everything where I wanted it and looking pretty, I would convert that to a PDF and then have this custom manual that I could distribute to students, and my images wouldn't move around because that can be an issue in Word sometimes. All right, so here's me with my finished Word document. And I do the normal, like, okay, file, I saved it, and I was getting ready to save my PDF copy when I saw this transform option down here, and I had never noticed it before. And so being kind of a tinkerer, I just thought, I wonder what this means. Like, what is Microsoft going to transform my document into? So I clicked on the button and up pops this little thing that says transform to web page. Transform your document into an interactive, easy to share Microsoft Sway web page that looks great on any device. And so I kind of perused these options right here and thought like, well, okay, some of them are pretty, but which one looks like a lab guide? And so I went with this kind of plain studio version right here. All right, let me get out of there and show you what happened. I took out, there were a lot of pictures of half dissected pigs. I took them out for what I'm going to show you because I wouldn't want that surprise if I was just coming to learn how to use a website thing. And so as I started looking, like the text isn't especially cool, but as you come down, like the image does this little dance as you get there. And I found that to be very visually interesting. And things just kind of popped up and it felt like a fun way to interact with it. So I kept going. And I was just really surprised at how nice this looked and how little I had to do to make this happen. These are just random images so that you're not looking at pig genitals right now because it's just too early in the week for that. And so, yeah, the way that we distribute this to students now is we give them a link on a Canvas page. I also have generated a QR code, and so students can, lift up their cell phone, take a picture, or not take a picture, but use their camera to go to this website on their phone. And a really cool thing about Sway is that as you change the size of the window, it's going to change how things are showing up to really optimize it. So like it knows that this text is still important, but it's okay for the picture to get smaller. And as you get bigger again, it just makes everything pretty. All right. So we're going to give you some time and a demo file to play with. But here's kind of just the basic walkthrough for how you're going to create and share using Sway. I like to start with a Word document and just add text and images there. You can use really basic formatting to indicate your titles and your headers. So for my original document, I have bold size 14 font for my title, and then I use bold size 12 font for my headers, and the website just knows There's my title, there's my header. It's just these small changes that to me are visually pleasing in a Word document, but it uses those to determine what it's going to look like. One thing that I feel like people complain about a lot is Word moving things around. So I'm going to show you how to make your images behave in just a second. And then you just use File, Transform in order to make it do what you want. So if I come back to Word, here's an example of like the sketchy image. So I'm going to throw in a picture. I just have this in File Explorer. I'm going to dump a dissecting tray right here. And some people have a hard time, like if it pops in right here, like it's in the middle of my Word, how do I do this? All you have to do is talk nice to Word, and it'll put it where you want it. So with your picture selected, if you pick picture format, wrap text, this is going to give you the power to tell it what you want to do with it. I'm a big fan of the top and bottom text wrap, so I can just slide it right down here where I want it. And now it's never going to have text like awkwardly stuck to it. It's just going to move nicely. If I can't really tell where the middle is, I can use picture format, align, center, and then it's right where it needs to be. Okay, and then I've already kind of hinted at this, the File, Transform, and then you can pick the kind that you want. Depending on whether you're logged into Office 365, you might get prompted to dual authenticate here, but that's okay. It should bring you back to where you want to be. Okay, so if Lane wants to put our link to our demo file into the chat, this would be a perfect time for that.
Thank you. And just as I'm doing that, there's 2 questions in the chat. If you wanted to check, just look at those and then address them.
Definitely. Okay, so Ed asked, any issues with readers? I'm guessing a screen reader.
Learn how to use my mouse. Yes, screen reader. Sorry, it's my first day.
It's okay. It's okay. So I have not made my images totally accessible yet, but when you're in here, you definitely have that option. Let's see.
Okay, so the option's there. It's just
the option is there to add alt text. And apparently, my other Office 365 account has taken over, so I can't edit this, but
naturally,
I can show you what that looks like.
Right when you don't want it to, but yeah.
Right, exactly. It's like you're not your work self, you're your home self,
right.
Obviously.
Sorry. Cool, thanks.
Yeah. And then Suzanne asked, where are the pages hosted? Is it through Canvas specifically, and does UWM have permission? They live on this sway.office.com area. You can embed them into Canvas pages. So I don't think this is school specific. You can share it with whoever you want. Let me just regenerate this because it's picking the wrong version of me. See, I'm Raddant at UWM, but it doesn't like that. Students when they're offline, so they would have to have connectivity to get to the website. And so I don't think it would be a great option for offline. The PDF version or just the plain Word version would be better for that. And then I don't know, Suzanne, if it is just Word. So I like to start in Word and use that as like my place to keep my safe copy of it and then go to Sway. But you can actually start in Sway and just build straight from there. I don't think a PDF would do it because I don't think there's a transform option coming from there, but we can try to make a new one out of start from a document, create new. We can try to import a PDF and see what happens. Yeah, we can insert images. I don't think a PDF is going to work. Okay, if you make a change on the Word document, does it change the Sway page? No. So every time you transform, you're generating a new Sway, and that does not stay linked with your Word document. If you notice a typo, you can change it right in Sway. But if you change the typo in Word, you have to remake the Sway page to fix it.
And does it just, and this is easier to ask than type. So when you create the Sway, does it just create like a link?
Yes.
Okay, so you're really just replacing a link in a Canvas page or a Canvas site, not having to re-embed something. Okay, cool.
Yes,
okay.
I believe is the answer to all those questions. Oh, and Lane said it will ingest a PowerPoint document.
Yes. So you have to go to Office, or if you go to, it looks like here's the URL, sway.office.com. If you go to sway.office.com, you just go to Office and then you access Sway. It will ingest PowerPoints, but what it does is what I'm seeing here is it will, it takes the text and the images and then it creates that into a web page. So it's not going to take some of the backgrounds. It's not going to take your, like any of the animations or stuff like that. It's basically taking the images and the text and then converting that into the web page. But the cool thing about the web page and going to Sway, I don't, this is just something I've been testing out, is that you have different options of like how it scrolls. Like Anne's been doing vertical scrolling. It does horizontal scrolling, and it also does a PD, like a basically looks like PowerPoint slides, just the slides as well. So there's some different options in there too. So just kind of play, I think it's more to play around with, like kind of like how you discovered it is playing around. And I think that's,
right.
Yep. All right. So I just tested that right now. So that was it. Thank you.
Cool. All right, so if you scroll up in the chat a little bit, because we've been very chatty, which I love, Lane dropped in a sample text document. And if you click on that, you'll be prompted to save it to your computer. So go ahead and do that, and then you can also play.
And Anne, one more thing as well, like you walked us through how to take a Word doc and turn it into a Sway on the app, like the Word application.
Right.
The process in OneDrive is a little bit different. Do you mind if I share my screen real quick?
Go for it. Yeah.
I just looked at it as you're talking. I was like, oh wait, it might be a little bit different. So I'm going to share my screen, and then that way, if you're using the stop recording, where's my share button? Share screen, there it is. So if you're using the browser version, so you go and find a file. So I'm just going to find a file here real quickly, and I had this all prepped up. So teaching lab, there we go. So here is, it doesn't matter which document we use. So here's a document that I have. Okay, great. So you go to File, and then you go to Export, and it'll be transformed to a web page. So instead of, it doesn't even mention Sway. I think that's what it, I can't remember your process, but that's what you go to Export and then transform to web page. So
interesting. And Suzanne just said she's working on the desktop Word on a Mac, and the transform button isn't there.
Well, I'll go
I wonder if
that.
there's a similar export movement.
But I could just be blind.
No.
Are you testing the Mac version, Lane?
Yeah, I'm looking that up. Right, I'm kind of messing with that right now.
Okay. See, Ed, I'm not always just busy breaking things for Seedle to fix. Sometimes I find fun things too.
Oh, we like when things get broken because then we figure out how to fix them. And lots of times you, being instructors, know things are broken long before we know they're broken, or we need to find a workaround for it. So
yeah.
We like when things get broken. Just
good.
Not always the first 2 weeks of the semester because they're so busy.
I'll keep doing my job then. All right, so if you have had success in getting this sample document open, you could do a couple different things. You could just go straight to transforming it to see what happens. Earlier I did this and I picked this tranquil version because I just needed some tranquility in my morning. And it did a funny thing where it just like picked some random text to highlight, which was a surprise. So definitely verify that everything happened the way you want it, right? Like this is super tranquil and serene. So nice. Like don't use Practorio. This was the random text that it was like, we think this is really important. And I was like, oh yeah, this is reasonable. So I don't know what kind of AI they're using to decide what to highlight here. This is a good spot to show you what it looks like if you're going to edit stuff. So if you're in Chrome, right here beneath your bookmarks bar, this edit button should be available if you're logged in appropriately and correctly. And so that's going to take you to this view where you have a storyline option, which is like the bare bones. And then this design is like, what does it look like? So you can make changes in the design. So if I click on this picture, it asks me like, do you want it to delete it? Is there a focus point? So if we say like, I really care about this, let's see what it does. Oh, now we just get this weird little thing. I don't like that, so we can get rid of it. The entire image is important, and then it puts it back. We can say that we want this to be intensely emphasized. This is going to hurt our brains. It just gets really big. Or that we want to take it down to a subtle emphasis. When I converted this last time, and it did it again. So Lane had in his Word document these really nice headers, right? Like 1, 2, 3. They're all formatted exactly the same from what I can see. But
because you
what?
Because I was prepping this document. So
right.
Yeah.
But what Sway did was it was like, okay, 1, yep, I get it, that's a header. 2, I get it, that's a header. And then it's like 3. No, whoops. I don't believe you. But if you like how it looks, you can just like copy and paste your formatting. So let's see, here's 1, and this tells me it's a heading 1 card. Okay, I can do that, heading 1 card. So here's 3. 3's like, no, I'm not going to do this. And I can just say, give me a heading 1 card, and then I'm going to copy this text. Here we go. I don't want it to be text because I have my heading. And then boom, it fixed it for me. Except it's duplicating. Oh, here, we got to delete this.
And do you mind if I just saw some questions on chat and some discussion I'm just going to respond to because I've been doing some testing on this.
Yes.
Thank you. So Suzanne was asking about, oh, hey, how do you do this on Mac? And I honestly haven't seen a way of converting, I haven't found it yet, a Word document to Sway natively within the Word application on a Mac. So I think in order to do that, you're really going to have to go to sway.office.com, and then you can ingest the document and it'll do the exact same thing. But you'll have to do that from the browser. You won't be able to do that from the application. And then let's see. I really love all the chats, and so if I miss one, let me know because I'm trying to read through them, but I might miss one. And then Sarah Pagliaroni, I'm sorry if I butchered that last name, Sarah. Sarah mentioned, oh, hey, you can also save it as HTML, and that's a really cool idea. But I think that if you save it as HTML, it won't have a URL, it won't have a web address, and it won't give you the Sway functionality. It'll be HTML. But what you can do with that then, Sarah, is you could actually paste that into like a Canvas page, and you would be able to just really easily take a Word document and paste that into Canvas, and then it won't have all the weird word formatting. It'll be rendered. It'll appear just as you really kind of as you intended. It'll be maybe a little bit different because they'll render the HTML different, but it'll actually be a cool way of rendering that page in a web format. But I think that would be something that you'd put into Canvas. It wouldn't have its own web URL. But I think to answer Suzanne's question, if you have a Mac, use the web application. And that's all I've ever used too. So good questions though. I just wanted to hit that one. So there we go.
Yeah, someone also asked, is there a standard UWM branded template we could use as a style? Not that I know of, but that would be cool. If you play with it long enough, you can find where you can just like dump in backgrounds. And so you could, make it a yellow and black scheme and have, little Pounce graphics or the pretty UWM font kind of in your kind of library of things. One really fun thing to play with once you're in here, if you have your design the way you want it to look, you can customize how things are moving. So now I'm going horizontally instead of vertically. And this is that slide option that Lane was talking about. It looks kind of funny, but that might work okay for my lab guide. My favorite is this remix. So you can pick like fonts and colors, but the remix is just like throwing it up in the air and seeing what happens. So there's the remix option, and then there's this undo button right next to it. So if you're like, no, this is terrible, and you can just keep hitting remix to see what happens. It's kind of fun. Ooh, what response from students have I received? Students like it. They don't even know anymore. They don't have to buy anything because that's, those students are gone now. But they use it like we want them to in the lab space. The dissections go pretty smoothly. So I feel like it's a pretty student friendly way to distribute it. Suzanne, the biologist with the biology questions. So separate from this fun sway thing is that I picked up this dissection role model from another instructor who I was following on Twitter. And conveniently, it's right in front of me right now. So they are working in groups of 4, and there are 2 people who are assigned the roles of attending or charge nurse. They do not have gloves on, and so one of them is reading the instructions, and the other one is taking pictures and documenting the dissection experience. The other 2 students in the group are the senior resident and the med student. They do have gloves on. They are doing the dissecting. And so these roles flip-flop. There's 2 dissections in the semester. And so everybody cuts once and everybody is running a computer once. Certainly at the end of the dissection part, once they have their pictures and their assignment is submitted, some of the students would then, put the computer away, glove up, and do their own thing. But I think having this really super guided role experience helps students deal with any of their like yucky, I don't want to touch this apprehensions in that first dissection. And they realize like, okay, I can do this in a way that feels safe to me, and kind of gear up for the second dissection when it's going to be their job. So yeah, the people who are touching the specimen are not touching their phones and their computers. All right, I'm going to try to transform in here. Nope, wrong button. So export, okay, so here I am. Yeah, Lane showed this too. File, export, transform to web page is what's going to dump you into Sway. So for the Mac people working in the web version, transform. Let's see what this format gives us. Ooh, I like the mountains. So they're all kind of a similar experience where things are popping up and they're very visually interesting. This one looks a lot like the normal, that kind of sterile looking format that I used the first time. Oh, Mark, sometimes the photos take a second to pop in. I would just refresh your Sway browser tab and see if they show up, or just try to retransform it. I've had that experience too.
I'm not getting the same kind of thing that you got when I went to the online Sway page, Microsoft Sway.
So did you start in Word or did you start in Sway?
I opened up Sway because I'm on a Mac.
Okay.
And just got, title of your project. And then I imported or uploaded the sample file into which I put a few photos.
Okay.
And it looks like the text all came through, but none of the illustrations, for example.
Interesting. Have you tried it again to see?
I tried refresh and nothing changed.
Okay.
So I don't,
Interesting. So you did this my device and then popped it in.
I didn't, all the stuff on the right, I didn't get that you have showing here. I don't know how you got that, but let's see, what did I do? I did something, there was a little arrow, it said it gave you options, a little button below the title.
Ah,
Upload.
this.
So I just did upload and bang, and all the text
Okay.
came over. Which was,
Interesting. So the way, yeah, let's
so
see
that
what
would
happens.
suggest when you have your text ready, just do it. Now I should see if I could slide an image in here.
Yeah. Or I think
And-
these three dots. Yeah, go ahead, Lane.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you click on the sway in the top left corner of your screen,
Yeah.
and then this is one way if you can start from a document. If you look right there too, that's what I was using.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I say it wasn't obvious when it opened up. All right, let me try to sample text this time with just a moment. Okay, I can wait. The same result.
So if I'm in this new sway and I hit this insert, it gives me this option to grab something from my device or from OneDrive. Let's see what happens if we do that. Downloads.
So let me see if I can.
There we go. Ah, yeah, it's just dumping it in this one little spot. Oh no, it brought an image over. Sorry if anybody can hear my dog like dream running behind me. He's making funny squeaking noises. Oh, that's beautiful. Ooh. That's a little bit better. How are other people doing with their playing with Sway? You could like give us a reaction using Zoom or in the chat, an emoji. Yes, I do want people to share their URL, but I want to make sure that people are doing okay with it. Jackie is loving it. Wonderful. If you feel like you have a beautiful project or something that's really ugly that you want to share, from Sway, you just click this share button up here. I like to just leave things open to make sure people are not going to run into share issues. So I do anyone with a link, you want them to just view, not edit it. And so then you just want to copy and paste this link right here. If you wanted to dump it into a Canvas page, you would use this embed this way option, but talk with Lane for technical advice about making the frame be the right size you want it to, because that's more HTML than I can handle. So just grab this and then copy and paste your code, your shared link into the chat, and then other people can kind of poke around your Sway pages and see what you've done with them.
And so if you aren't, this is Suzanne, if you aren't embedding it on a Canvas page, how do you use it on a Canvas page?
I just give them a link on the Canvas page.
Oh, okay.
Or this week, so my students are using it next week. I also gave my lab instructors some PowerPoint slides. One has a QR code where they can just scan that code in class and then it'll be on their phone.
I see.
Jackie, what are some of your ideas that you're going to mess with in Sway?
Yeah, so I mean, so much. I like playing with these toys. So, and we've done some things in Sway. We had some, like a student online symposium during the pandemic that was on Sway. So I'm a little familiar, but didn't know about converting Word docs to it. So I just threw a syllabus into Sway just to see what it would look like. And that may or may not work, right? But we have some reports coming up, student survey results, reports for accrediting bodies. And in fact, I just got an email this morning from one of my faculty members asking like how we can make it look nice. And I'm thinking, you know what? this might be perfect. We have
Right?
just solved the issue today,
Perfect.
and which is part of the reason why I was looking for UWM branded material. But it looks like we can just play with hex codes and whatnot. So that's exciting for some report writing and being able to publish some of these things online because accrediting bodies require it. And just
Mhm.
pages after pages of text is really challenging. So, things like that.
Yeah.
Student
There
handbooks,
is,
maybe.
have you found there's like a branding website that lives in like the university
Yeah,
relations? Okay.
yep. And like on the other tools, I use like Pick to Chart and Canva. I have all the hex codes saved in there. I was just
Okay.
hoping somebody's already done the work.
Yeah. I have not, but I want that might be worth an email over to the external relations folks to see like, do y'all ever use this? Or
I was just hoping Lane would say, "I've got it for you, Jackie."
right. Lane has personally created it.
That's right. So no, this is great though. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Ooh, Lane shared. Oh, is this your syllabus, Lane? This is cool.
Yeah. And again, I just started from a Word doc, and then I kind of played around with pictures. It's cool. You can like, if you hold it, when you open it up, you'll see it like it zooms in
Oh
on Billy
yeah.
Graham's face, and you can set like image focus points. Is really cool. So like
Mhm.
when it don't even zoom, it'll like move in there, and then also when you go down, you'll see like I always make sure I got the face, and you can just set points of interest where like it won't cut that off.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just playing with it really quick over the weekend when you and I had after we had talked, and yeah, I mean, I really like this is a lot more engaging of text and clearly delineates between like what the levels of information are and where the
Mhm.
spots are. Like, what's the header one? What's the important stuff as my header? If you wanted, I could show you how I embedded it too, so you can
Go
see
for it.
both.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Nobody else has shared their work in the chat yet. I would love to see how you've made your sway pages look. If you just keep hitting remix, they might be really ugly by now, but that's okay.
All right. Let's see here. Share screen. All right. So I just went to there's a syllabus right there, and I can zoom in a little bit. There you go. So this is I just put the syllabus in the syllabus thing, and here you go. You could, it looks pretty nice. It works pretty well. You can click on this. It gives you a kind of an outline, and you can easily jump to headers. Like, oh, let's see, where's the course schedule? There it is. Let's pop down there, and we can just go through that. And so that's really, really cool. The thing that's not so cool, I'll show you this. I'm going to click on edit. And then this is the syllabus tool within Canvas. And I have deselected show course summary. I'm going to turn that on again, update it. And you'll see, okay, this looks pretty much the same, except for now there's a course summary. That's cool. But now I want to scroll down on this. If I scroll down, I'm scrolling down the entire page. Like there's no way for me to just scroll the page, this. So if the page is longer than the screen, there's no way I can't change that CSS to change that. So that's kind of a bummer. So if you want to use it for your syllabus, you have to turn off the course summary, which some people don't like anyways. So there you go. And then Anne, you were talking about, hey, the embed code, or like it makes it too small. So I'm going to click on edit, and you can change that. If you click on the HTML, and it's not as scary as it seems.
So scary.
This is the width, right? That's the width of the image. It's 100%. So it's going to take up all 12 columns of space, whatever, who cares? Just 100%. Height, you can start playing around with that. Like I could make that, 1250. Update the syllabus, and now it's going to get bigger. And so it's changing the size of this. So you can make it more documenty that way if you choose. So it's just kind of up to you what size you want. So if you want to make it you can kind of play around with that. So that's how it'll look when you embed the image into a page.
Okay, it's not as scary as I thought it was.
There you go. I told you.
Still not going to mess with it, but. All right. Well, I feel like we're at about a point to call last call for sharing your links so we can see your handiwork. Or maybe people are like just working on their own projects and they're only halfway done now. That's okay. In progress work is fun.
Now this is Mark again. I'm still getting frustrated trying to get this to run on a Mac well.
You want to share your screen with us, Mark, and see if we can.
Well, I've got lots of things open, but
I'll make you a co-presenter and you can share. And to be honest, Mark, I actually literally just before Active Teaching Lab, I cleared off my desktop so it wouldn't look so messy. So,
well,
right.
mine is a proverbial mess. So
No judgment, judgment-free zone in ATL.
Let's see. So
yes, right. Just made a co-host, and you'll see share at the bottom.
Yeah, I gotta find it. Share screen.
Yep.
All right. I got two screens. I would like it to be the right one. Well, wait a minute. Continue. I have no idea what you're really looking at right now. So
you can still see my screen.
Let's see if this is the right one. Allow Zoom. Oh, come on.
Oh yeah, secure.
What are you looking
security.
at?
I'm still looking at mine. It's yeah, you have to make sure Zoom has been allowed the option of seeing your screen.
Reopen. No, now it's telling me to leave the meeting. No. I am always such good friends with these kind of products. Let's try this again. Who can share? I don't care.
Oh, instead of hitting the little arrow, hit the big green share screen.
All right, let's try
Not
that.
the little tab to the side of it.
Continue. Okay, I think I want desktop too. Okay. That might do it. Wait on a second here.
There
Oh,
you
yeah.
go.
All right, so over on the left, I stuck in two pictures, like one of our cats, and that's my budget doll for anyone who's working budget these days. Thank you, Cat Kissinger. And when I came, so then on the right side, I opened up the website for Sway,
Mm-hmm.
and I uploaded the file, and this is what popped up. And what two things are of interest. I can't figure out how to get the pictures in here. And this little text here is not in the original document that I can see. Yes, yet
that's the call out. It's kind of a weird call. Mark, I do. It wasn't called out in the text, but it is in there. It's just under, if anything, throughout. It's under the 1, 2, 3. This feedback. I know I had a yet in there, which I shouldn't have.
I don't see
I'll have
it
to look for that
in the text over there. So that was kind of weird because
I do think the problem though that you're experiencing is that I don't know if you've saved the document. So like I see that you have sample text, you put some stuff in, and I see there's some by that dot at the top left of your corner, it's indicating to me in the Word document that you didn't save the images, the additions or the changes you made.
All right, well, let's see if that works. Okay, just saved.
And then let's try it. Oh, look and see if I can find that yet.
So
it's at the end of your first paragraph.
Okay, cool. So it is in there. Cool. Thanks, sir. Thanks, Dan.
Well, it's all right. So it's in there twice because it's still in the first paragraph. Okay, so if I'm going to do this, do I close?
Click on
I would
Sway and then
click
okay,
the big Sway.
Okay, start anew and let's see what happens. All right, I think I just resaved this. All right, now let's see what happens.
All right, we see the cat. Will the cat make the journey?
Please make the journey. Please. Give me hope.
Hey, the cat made it.
Hey, now how do I tell what this really looks like?
Click design, top left next to storyline.
Okay, thank you. All right.
There you go.
Somehow it's been rearranged, but I can, in here, I can See, it's flipped, it's moved around.
Yeah, so you do have a kind of limited options as far as like drag and drop once you're in Sway. And so in my situation, I think I just got really lucky and things just kind of went where I had them.
Because
Could he try like styles and see like what different styles would look like?
Well, okay.
Styles might mess with it a bit. Yep.
Over in Word, I went ahead and made this the top, bottom spacing and center, and this one was a block on the right, whatever, which are things I often use, and you can see what happened. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, Sway likes to have an image and text next to it, which worked for me. But yeah, if you really want a picture by itself, I'm not sure how you can force it to do that. But I haven't.
If you can just insert it back in the actual design plate, wherever that went.
In your storyline, yeah.
Although
Well, because it lives there as a picture.
Yeah.
What you could do, Mark, is click on the image where it says image card.
Mm-hmm.
And then see where it says emphasis. Yeah, pick that, the big one. Like right next to the trash can.
That one.
That's going to be your like super focal point. Now go back to design and see if your cat is the rock star that they deserve to be. There you go.
Nice.
but they're a little too big of a rock star here.
But what you can do is if you click on the cat picture from here, you can change your emphasis. So click on emphasis.
Oh, cool.
There you go. And then moderate. There we go.
How do you get things to move left and right? Like move this?
I don't know that you can. If you can, I don't know how to do it.
Well, that's something to play with at least. Okay.
So and also try I was just going to say, try resizing your screen and see what happens too, because you have it kind of narrow right now. And see if you can get that. So like your the window that you have the Sway in is kind of narrow and small. Try making it a little bit bigger and see what it looks like.
on this monitor, it's pretty very large. All right. So part of the trick then here is make sure you have a save file. And then once you have this, I'm sorry, I lost track. Once I've made this, how do I get this into my Canvas pages?
Yes. Click on share in the top right.
Yes.
And then you can either embed the link or embed the actual website.
Okay. So I just use this. What the heck? White people. So if I want to bring this in a Canvas course, I could basically take that link and drop it in and they can.
Yep, and just give your students a link. Or if you click on, let's see, more options.
Okay.
If you change it to, I'm not seeing the embed option right now. Lane, can you walk us back through that?
Oh, yeah. Mark, can you go back to share again?
Oh, yes.
And then, you will want to do what remember Anne was saying as well. Make sure that the radio button is selected to anyone with the link. So that way the link will allow anybody to view it. And then you can just click on that little get your link, and that'll just copy your link right there.
Right. Get this one right here. Yep.
You generate a visual link, and then you could also click on that little, the link is right there, just above where your mouse is right now. That's the link right there. You just copy and paste that. Yep.
Okay.
And then if you want the embed code, there's get embed code, and that's what you could do to do what I did.
So then this site lives on a Sway site and is linked into your Canvas site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for helping. I was like, I know something here is supposed to work better than this.
Hey, Anne, I've got a question.
Yeah.
Are Sway items, you don't have to change like with a OneDrive or a Google Doc, you have to change setting permissions. I'm assuming that they're just accessible to anyone with the link, right?
So you have to configure it. So when you click the share button, it auto-populates to select those in your organization with the link. And so I always change it to anyone with a link.
Got it.
Just to make sure they don't have to authenticate.
Otherwise, they will have to.
Mm-hmm. And then you get 95 emails because you have 1 million students, and it's very sad.
I am going to wrap us up today, just so if people need to get going, they are able to. We are going to save this recording. I will get that posted as well. I just want to, first of all, thank Anne for everyone for being here and for all this expert advice. I had never really played with Sway, or maybe if I was even aware of it, I didn't know why would you use it. And this was a really cool way of how do you use this and how do you make this impactful and how do you create Word documents that are, again, hosted online that students can access no matter what kind of device they have. That's really awesome. So thank you, Anne, so much for your introduction to Sway and your great overview of that and how you use that. Thank you also, everyone, for your participation. It was such fabulous. It's so fabulous to see everybody today and to be able to see all the questions popping up and have this interaction, this opportunity. That was so much fun. Thank you for that. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a great day, and we'll see you next month.